Why is it so cold in my basement? This monstrosity is my Compaq Presario 4402 all-in-one from 1996. And thanks to Compaq's questionable corner cutting, we can put pretty much any motherboard we want in this thing and connect it to the internal CRT and the speakers. And today we're going to turn this thing into the world's most cursed modern sleeper PC. So stay tuned. And if you enjoy building out terrible, horrible computers, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. This hulking behemoth of a Compaq Presario started life as a 166 MHz Pentium MMX with a whole 16 megabytes of RAM. In our last video on it, we got it up and running again, reinstalled Windows 95, watched some grainy videos of Q from Star Trek speaking Portuguese, and marveled at this thing's hideous yet strangely alluring physique. But the most compelling part of this all-in-one is that it's not really an all-in-one at all. Compaq just fused a CRT monitor and a computer into a single plastic case, but didn't actually combine them in any meaningful way. So this monitor has its own power connector and VGA connector. The speakers and microphone have their own connectors as well. That being the case, we can put pretty much any motherboard we want in there and connect it to the internal display. Slightly cursed? Now you might ask yourself, why on earth would someone ever want to use this thing as a modern PC? Anyway, this is a micro ATX board that I happen to have lying around. It is a Core i9 of some description, 32 gigs of now incredibly expensive DDR5 memory, which is probably worth more than my car at this point. And I have a matching mini power supply that I think should fit inside this case. So with all of that set up, let's pull the original motherboard out of this thing and get weird. By the way, the first ever Vintage Computer Festival in Canada is happening real soon, January 25th and 26th. So in just a few days, I'll be heading up to Montreal and possibly bringing this thing with me if it works. I'll also be packing a bunch of other things for an exhibit inside this, the large transit carry-on from Australia's best lugging stuff around company, Bellroy. I often find myself needing to pack multiple fragile bits of vintage tech into a carry-on bag for computer shows, and I finally have one sturdy enough that I'm not worried about it. The Bellroy transit line of bags are durable and well laid out. On the outside, there is a matte polycarbonate shell made out of 80% post-consumer recycled material, with an abrasion-resistant YKK racket coil zipper with water-resistant coating. And on the inside, you've got tons of organizational options, whether you're carrying clothes, decades-old computer equipment, or like me, a mix of both. And if the bag gets a bit heavy, you've got 4 Hinimoto lease-off silent run wheels, and a custom-designed telescopic handle with 3 height settings. Bellroy also sent me their classic roll-top backpack, which pairs great with the hard-shell case, with a strap on the back to hang on to the handle, and a huge unrolling interior space for all the VCF swag I'm definitely going to pick up. Bellroy is a certified B Corp for public good, which is super cool. Get 10% off anything on Bellroy.com with my link down in the description below. If you ever need to put things inside another thing, that thing should be a Bellroy. I'm a marketing genius. Thanks again, Bellroy, for sponsoring today's video. As is tradition, I didn't bother putting any screws back into this thing, so she slides right on out. Yeah, the original motherboard in this thing is actually quite large, so technically we don't even need to go this small, but I think this will give us a lot of room to work with. So why don't we have a nice disassembly montage? And we're free! Yeah, the inside of this thing is pretty grody, but we're just going to ignore that and figure out some way to mount this guy, which of course Not going to match up with the holes, but I've got ideas for that. Okay, so after a bit of messing around here, I think that is the best spot for the motherboard, because then the power supply can go kind of right here. That's as far up as it can go because there's little humps here for the old screw mounts. But there's still enough room to add this RTX 2070 Ti video card. If the power supply is any further this way, then these fans can't spin. And also, this extension here reaches from the motherboard to the video card just fine. Then kind of a stretch goal that I want to do, this floppy drive works. So I have this floppy to USB adapter, which goes on like this, and then powers like this, and then just hooks up to USB. Yeah, so we can keep working floppy drive there. And maybe I'll use a different optical drive, something SATA, so we can plug into the motherboard. And this whole thing will fit in the case because nothing goes above this little ridge here. All right, so now the problem is, how are we going to securely mount this stuff? I'll tell you, I am not above drilling holes into this bottom metal pan. You know, we're not a museum here, and it's not like this was in good condition anyway. Really, the only modification I think is too far is something that is irreversible, like if I cut out one of these mounting brackets for the drives, because I want to be able to turn this back into the original machine. Even with holes drilled in here, you're not going to see those because they're inside the machine. So I think it's fine. Just going to use the inside of a pen to mark where holes could be drilled for this board. I don't even know if I have standoffs that I can use. I hope so. Seems pretty good. Okay, here's where I'm at. I have 3 USB ports on the back here, 2 on this plate, and 1 here where this super gungy serial port used to be. The 2 USB ports here just go to the USB port on the back of the computer, and this USB port goes to the USB header on the motherboard, which gives us 1 internal USB port, which we are going to use for the original floppy drive. I have this floppy to USB adapter, which we can plug into the drive here. This gets its power from USB. We'll plug that into the internal USB port. So that should be floppy drive sorted. For optical drive, I've gone with a super drive out of a Mac Pro. I wish I had one of these with a beige front, but I don't. We're just going to hook that up with the teeniest, tiniest little SATA cable you've ever seen. Just like that. Look how teeny tiny that is. Satisfying. Now for a power button, I'd like to put something on the front of the machine, but we have all those buttons up there already, so I think what I want to do is reuse the Q button on the front of the computer as the power button. And to do that, I've pulled out the front button board, which plugs in right here. So I think what I want to do is beep out with a multimeter this button to see where it correlates to on this handy set of headers right here. And then I can simply run wires from the motherboard's connector up to a power switch here, and that should do it. Now, power supply, I think, is going to have to go like this. Yeah, that can reach the onboard connectors, no problem. CPU connector, no problem. I'm not going to mount this officially, though, until we know everything fits. Just going to wrap this floppy adapter in electrical tape so nothing shorts out. Yes, the professional way. Tape. All right, last thing is video card, and I have this RTX 2070 Ti. Yeah, 2070 Super, 8 gigabytes. This is the best video card that I have just lying around. We can mount it here and hopefully get it out of the way of the power supply. It's a bit tight. Okay, I've got everything back together again. It's crammed in there pretty good. Looks a little bit unhinged, I must admit, but who needs hinged when we have power? The only thing that wouldn't fit in here that was original is this tension bar to keep it together. We don't need this. Let's shove this thing in the case, see if it works. All right. Oh, it's gonna be a squeeze. Well, she didn't want to go in there, but she went in there. And for video, we're just gonna use one of these HDMI to VGA adapters. Hook up audio. Let's try to boot this up. All right, unhinged Compaq sleeper PC, smoke test number 1. Does the Q button turn it on? It does! And this already has Ubuntu on it. I think we'll wipe this Ubuntu install, but first, let's make sure keyboard, mouse, and everything is working. Ooh, keyboard works, which means our janky USB ports work. Oh, mouse works, yeah. Look at that. Does audio work? It does. My friends, did we just do a cursed sleeper PC in one try with no magic smoke? I think we did. Anyway, jump cut to a fully up-to-date install of Ubuntu. But before we test anything like the floppy drive, there is something very important we have to do first. Compaq wallpaper. Let's see here. Oh yeah, perfect. Looks incredibly cursed. Now I am slightly concerned by the floppy drive because the light is just on constantly and it's making a continuous clicking noise, but we're gonna stick a floppy disk in there anyway and see if it can read it. Oh my god, look at that, the floppy drive works! Yeah, things never go this well. Look at that. And man, modern GNOME is just so freaking beautiful. Alright, might as well see if the speakers work.
10, print.
They sure do!
20, go to 10, run. 10, print. Hello world, 20, go to 10, run.
Oh, that is freaking awesome. Oh, this thing is fully freaking working. And of course, I've put Steam on here, because what else are we going to use this for other than AAA modern gaming? Oh, look at this. This is freaking awesome. Now let's try BeamNG Drive, which is probably my favorite game of all time. Okay, this is pretty freaking awesome. BeamNG Drive has kind of intense system requirements, and here we are playing it on a late 90s Compaq Presario with built-in CRT. Oh, that's ridiculous. Ooh, frame rate's a little chonky here. Alright, well how about frickin' Oblivion Remastered? This is absolutely ridiculous running on here. I mean, this computer originally predated the release of the original Oblivion, and here we are playing the remastered Oblivion on basically the same machine. Sure, it has a different motherboard and CD-ROM drive and dedicated video card, but from the front here, it's the real deal experience. This is surreal. I'm really playing this game on this mid-90s computer. I do kind of worry about thermals in there. I stuck a fan behind the case to try and draw air out. I'm sure it's fine. How frickin' cool is this? Obligatory fast fetch screenshot so we can see these ridiculous specs. Now look at that, our two GPUs, the GeForce RTX 2070 Super and the Intel Alder Lake integrated. 32 gigs of RAM, our i9-12900K, 24 cores at 5.2 gigahertz, which seems a little optimistic, I don't know about that. Yeah, and our 15-inch 1024 by 768 display. Amazing. There's just something about this with the 90s Compaq wallpaper and this CRT display running modern frickin' Linux and modern games on Steam. It's the whole package. This might be the perfect sleeper PC. This could honestly be my favorite computer. I could just use this. I could set this up down here, Spotify on here, use these 25-year-old JBL Pro speakers and listen to music. Not too shabby. So that's it, the Compaq Presario Sleeper PC. It might just be the most cursed thing we've ever built on this channel, and it might be the best sleeper PC we've ever built. I can just imagine taking this thing to LAN parties and ruining my back. If you want to see me go even further with this thing, I have some ideas, like adding winter cooling to this and sticking the radiator on the back of the monitor, maybe swapping out these old speakers for something much, much louder, but always preserving the glorious Shadow Mask CRT that's in here. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And I just want to give a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and channel members. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for supporting me and supporting this channel and all the weird stuff I do. I am so very grateful, and I just could not do this without you.